Hello, and welcome to the CSIS 115A Web Development Level 1 course. My name is Bill Bennett, and I am your instructor for this course. And this video is intended to kind of show you around the course and make sure that you understand how things work. So we start by looking at the course homepage and pointing out that there's really two navigational structures that you're going to find on this homepage. So in the image on your screen there, the left-hand navigational system, that's the Canvas global system. So when you're on any page within the Canvas system, you'll have access to the links that you see in that global navigation section. Then the right-hand menu, that's found on the course homepage, and that has the majority of the links that you're going to need to get access to the instructional materials, the data files that you're going to need for completing your assignments, the syllabus, the textbook info, and things of that nature. So if we take a look at the course shell inside of Canvas, you'll see this is the home page there that I'm referring to. And the first thing that's in the larger text is the student check-in. That's the first thing that you need to accomplish in this course, is to get checked into the course. You'll need to do that so that you can ensure that you do not get dropped from the course. The process is very simple. You just need to copy this text here, click on the reply button, paste that text into that editor that comes up, and then just simply change the little two words there that are student name to your actual first name and last name. Once you've done that, you go ahead and you click on this post reply button, and you will have completed the process. And then to navigate back to the home page again, you can see I can go to the global menu on the left, just click on home, and I'm back on the home page again. Underneath of that student check-in, you'll see, again, in larger type, because you want to be familiar with this particular discussion forum, which is the help discussion forum. So it's in here that you can go ahead and post problems that you encounter within the course or questions that you might have. And you are encouraged to subscribe to this discussion forum by clicking on this button here that says subscribe. Just click and you'll see that it turns green and says you are subscribed. And that way you will be notified every time that somebody posts into this forum. So in addition to using it for getting answers to questions that you might have about the course, you can also gain extra credit points by answering students' questions before I get there to answer them, because usually I don't get to them until the following day, or within 48 hours at a maximum during regular course schedules. And you get 5 extra points for correctly answering any question that has been posted here that I have not previously answered. So just be sure you subscribe to this help discussion forum, and that way you'll be notified each post that gets posted there, as well as my responses. Now going back to the home page, you'll see under the heading Course Content, you want to click on Start Here so that you can get kind of an overview of what the course is about and kind of how it works. So again, we're covering the check-in here. Then we have a little introduction as to what this course is all about. And then a step-by-step of how you should process the first day or so of this course. Go through and read these various materials so that you'll be familiar with them. They're information that you need to be aware of as far as how you're going to be completing the course. So we're on the start page here. You may need to email me at some time, so there's a link here for the department email policy. And so at this point, when I clicked on that link, you might notice that we actually went to a different web page system. So this is the Computer Information Systems web server. I put a lot of my content on this server because there's a lot of duplication that I have within all the courses that I teach, and it just makes it more efficient for me to keep the content here on this server. So just any time that you see this header up here with the CIS logo and the text computer information system, just know that that's where you're at, is you're now on one of those content pages on that server. So if you're in your regular mode in your web browser, you could just simply click back onto the tab where you were previously. That'll get you back to, in this case, the Canvas web system. So after the Start Here page, you definitely want to get your textbook ordered. Now there's some information here. When you click on it, it takes you to the Cengage page. It'll give you some pricing information. I'll show you once we get to the syllabus, though. I've got some other details about the options that are available to you. So we'll come back to the textbook information here in just a second. So we'll go back here to the Canvas home page. After textbooks, there is the syllabus link, so we'll click there. Now the syllabus is kind of your Bible as far as this course is concerned, because not only does it contain information that you want to be aware of as far as the course is concerned, including information about myself, my email address, the textbook information, but most importantly, the assignment schedule. So all of the due dates and which assignments are due on those dates are all listed here. But before we get down to that, let me just show you here again is the textbook information. A little bit more information here than you saw previously. So you'll see that Cengage has that rental prices page that we were looking at just a moment ago. So that's one option that you have, rent the textbook. Now realize that this textbook is used in both WebDev 1 and WebDev 2. So we cover the first half of the book here in WebDev 1, and then you'll use and cover the second half of the book in WebDev 2. So if you plan on going through and completing both of those courses, you want to allow for that in your rental scheme here. Depending on whether you're taking a summer course or a fall course or a spring course, your options might be a little bit different, because in the summertime, we're only offering the HTML, the WebDev 1 course. In both the fall and the spring semesters, we have back-to-back 8 week sequences that you can first take WebDev 1 the first 8 weeks and then follow that up immediately in the second 8 weeks of the semester with WebDev 2. So whatever the length of that semester is, that's how long you would want to rent your textbook for, obviously, to be able to have it available to you for both of those classes. If you are taking it in the summer, then you'll have to figure out when the second 8 weeks would be for either I guess it'd be the fall would be the next time that you would be offered the web development course as far as being able to enroll in it. So in the example that we're seeing here, this happens to be 2021, the web dev second 8 weeks would not conclude until December of 2021, and so you would actually want to extend your rental, in this case, to March 3rd. So that's the rental option. Now there's also what they call Cengage Unlimited. And what Cengage Unlimited does for you is allows you to pay one fee and have access to pretty much all of the textbooks. So if you're taking multiple courses that each one uses a different Cengage book, then Cengage Unlimited might be the better choice for you. And in all cases, I actually recommend that you purchase the e-text or electronic version, the digital version of the textbook, as opposed to the handheld copy of the textbook. Unless you really want to have another textbook on your shelf, digital, in my opinion, is the way to go, and especially in the web development courses, because you have the ability to copy the code examples that are within each of the instructional sections in the textbook. So instead of you having to write out all the code all the time into your code editor, you'll be able to just copy it and paste it in there, and it makes things happen a little bit quicker. And it's not a kind of a double-edged sword there, too. I mean, part of learning the web development process is being able to build some certain amount of muscle memory that you can just kind of intuitively start typing out different code structures as you need them. But like I say, it can be convenient for you to also cut or copy and paste from the textbook into the editor, especially when you're becoming more comfortable with how the code structure works. So getting back to the syllabus, let's go ahead and cover then the class schedule. First week, you have to complete the prep assignment, so that's basically getting yourself set up on your home computer to be able to have a source editor that you can use and be able to publish your files to our student web server. So the student web server is a tool that we use to give you kind of a real world experience, because that's how we do it in the real world. We work locally on our home computer or office computer on our source code editor to build web pages, but then eventually we need to publish those web pages up to the actual web server so that the rest of the world has access to all the work that we've been doing. And so that's what the prep assignment is all about, and that is the first week of the course, essentially getting yourself set up, ready to publish to the web server, and then eventually there are these data files that you'll be using for each of the different tutorials in the course. And so in that data files, you'll find there's a default.html file. You have to make a quick little edit on there, and that's explained in the prep assignment instructions. And then also publish that up to the student web server. Then you'll go back to your web browser on your computer, make sure that you can view that page that you published up to the student web server. Once you've verified that, you make a copy of the URL that's in your web browser, and then you will post that back into Canvas, and then I'll use that so that I can evaluate your work. In this case here, seeing you were able to publish that page and make the requested changes, and then go ahead and score your assignment. As far as the rest of the course is concerned, you'll be going through the textbook, which is divided into two portions for each of the tutorials. So first of all, you have the tutorial itself, which will take you through step by step, showing you how to use the particular elements, the HTML elements, and then later on the CSS coding that needs to be added into a web page to get certain results. And then at the end of each of those tutorials is a review assignment. And so the review assignment then will just basically give you, here's the requirements for what type of a web page and the components we want you to build within a web page, and it'll be based on what you learned in the tutorial. So the tutorial you don't publish to the student web server, but the review assignments you always publish to the student web server. And again, once you've completed those and you have published them, you'll need to open them up in your web browser to make sure you can view it on the student web server. And then once you've confirmed that, you'll copy the URL from your web browser, and again, you'll post that into Canvas so that I can go and score your posted assignment. So you can see there are 7 assignments then in this class, and then a final exam at the end. Now, the way that you prepare for the final exam is that each of the tutorials has a quiz associated with them, and they're only 20 questions each time you take the quiz, but they're being drawn, the questions are being drawn from a pool of about 120 questions. And so they're randomly selected each time you take a quiz. And so it's to your advantage to repeatedly take that quiz over and over again. I say use them like flashcards, because what you're trying to do is just kind of build your knowledge of the terminology and the tags and what they're used for by going through those quizzes repeatedly. And then also, once you've got that knowledge, as long as you've put forth the effort to repeat those quizzes at least 10 times, I would say, for each tutorial, then you'll have the knowledge that will be needed to successfully pass that final exam, because the final exam just covers the same quiz questions. It just, again, randomly draws questions from each of those 7 quizzes and their pools. So then underneath of the schedule, you can see we have the course grading. So that's your points there. Basically, at the end of the course, the Canvas system takes the total number of points that you achieved during the course, divides them by the total possible there, 1,150, and then whatever your percentage is from that result is going to be how your grade is determined. Now, another thing I should point out while we're here too is that once I score your review assignment, if you got 100%, that's great. Just move on to the next tutorial and then the next review assignment. But If for whatever reason there's an error or two, I will point out what those errors are along with the score that gets assigned, and then you have an opportunity to go back and fix those errors and achieve a 100% score on that review assignment. Now, there is a caveat there. You must turn in your review assignment to begin with on time. In other words, each review assignment's due date listed on the right-hand column there, you have to have submitted the URL in Canvas by that due date. I'll score it, and then as long as you posted it by that due date, if there's any errors, you'll have an opportunity to go back and fix them and increase your score. So late assignments, we really don't accept them, but in this course, every once in a while, I know issues do pop up. So realize if you just send me an email or post a message in Canvas for me, then I will, try to accommodate you as best I can. But really, you should get yourself into a mindset where you need to, work on the schedule that we posted for you. That's the way it works in the real world. And remember that the whole idea of taking these courses is more so than getting the grade, is getting prepared to be able to actually get a job in the real world doing this type of work. You should also know that there is a student drop policy. If you miss 3 or more assignments, so that includes any quiz or a review assignment, if there's 3 of those missed at any one time, I'll send you a warning to say that you're about to be dropped. Encourage you to try and get them made up, and if by the following week you haven't made that up, most likely you'll be dropped from the course. So that's kind of a policy that comes from MSJC, and so it has to do with the way that they are getting funding from the state for the students in the course. So, I have to adhere to that. So just keep up with the work, please, and that makes it better for both of us. As far as my regular effective contact policy, just realize you've got 3 places that you can notify me of anything or ask a question or communicate with me, which is my email, the Canvas messaging system, or through the help system. Now remember, the help, that's primarily used for questions about the course and the material that we're covering in the course. But if it's a personal issue, then you want to send me an email or send me a message in the Canvas messaging system. And I will respond Monday through Thursday, I say within 48 hours. So if I haven't responded to you by that Friday, then you'll expect it, or you can expect that I'll respond to it by Monday. Of course, there's no plagiarism, cheating, or stealing within the course, and so if that is detected, then you would most likely get a 0 for the assignment, in this case, that you would be plagiarizing. Learning environment, just, when you're communicating with each other in a digital environment, just be sure that you use net etiquette, meaning you always want to be kind of positive and not negative, and certainly not post any slurs against any other students within the course. If you do need tutoring, I'll show you that here in just a little bit. And then also my disability statement here at the bottom. If you have a disability, you can register yourself through the Accommodation Service Center. They'll notify me of what the issue is. A lot of times it's more time on the quizzes, but the quizzes are unlimited as far as the time is concerned. And so really for this class, there really isn't much accommodation that needs to be made. But that's true of all MSJC courses. So that's a link that you would want to be aware of if that's your situation. So on this screen here, just talking about the student check-in, you need to go in and copy the text in that forum that you see highlighted in blue there on the screen. You'll copy and paste that. Actually, you need to click the reply button down below first. Then you'll paste that text into the editor that pops up and just change the student name to your first name and last name. And then once you're done with that, you can see you want to post reply by clicking that red button in the bottom right-hand corner there. This is dealing with how you get your questions answered. So we have the various options that are available to you. Email me at the address that you see there. That's probably the quickest way to reach me because my email is coming to me whether I'm on my computer, on my phone, on a tablet, many different devices. If you post a message in the inbox for the Canvas messaging system, that would be the second quickest way to reach me. And in both cases, for email and Canvas messaging, you want to use those for personal questions. If you have questions about the course and you're running into some problems perhaps, you should post in the help discussion forum, because that way everybody sees the question. And most likely, if you have a question, other students will have a similar question or a similar problem. And so by recording that information within that help discussion forum, it helps everybody to kind of work together kind of collaboratively to sort out the different issues that you might encounter as you go through the different tutorials and review assignments in the class. So you are encouraged to help each other in there, as I show you down there at the bottom that you can get extra credit. If you make a reply that does answer a question before I answer it, you have the opportunity to receive 5 extra credit points. So I encourage you to subscribe to that help discussion forum and help your fellow students in this class by trying your best to respond to the questions that are posted there. And as I say at the very bottom, that's what good coders do, help each other out. So a review of the Start Here page. This would be the link that's on the home page there in Canvas. So it covers how the course works, talks about the data files that are needed for completing tutorials and assignments, and we'll show you that in a little bit. How to submit your review assignments, how you can improve your scores, how the assessments work. So the quizzes, you want to repeat them as many times as possible. And again, that'll help prepare you for the final exam. There is a resources link there for the different subjects that I teach. I find some pretty interesting YouTube videos or some different websites that are related to the subject matter that you're covering. And so you won't be tested on any of that information, but if you're really serious about becoming a professional in the world of web development, I highly encourage you to look through those and check out any that you might find of interest. It just kind of helps you get a little bit deeper knowledge of particular areas. Extra credit is primarily helping other students out within the help discussion forum, but the content that I've developed here might have some typos in it, might have some broken links from time to time, since we're constantly moving stuff around and moving from server to server. And if you report those to me, which I would prefer you can do those through the Canvas messaging or the email, then I'll give you 5 extra points for pointing out what the problem is so that I can get it fixed. Late assignments, not encouraged, because remember, if you turn in a late assignment, you don't have an opportunity to update your score. Whatever score you get, if you turn in your assignment late, that's the score that you're going to have until the end of the course. So you want to make sure that you get your review assignments in prior to or by the due date, so that whatever score you get, you have an opportunity to improve upon that. Student drop policy, don't miss 3 assignments or more, exams and review assignments, because that puts you and me in a bad position there where you're potentially going to be dropped, and I may have to drop you again because of MSJC's policies. We'll introduce you to the Internet Authoring Program. This course is part of that program, and by completing certain courses within the Internet Authoring Program, you can earn one of 2 certificates. We have an apprentice certificate, which is basically the first 3 levels of Internet Authoring. And then by completing the last 2 levels, which is 3 additional courses, you can get the Journeyman certificate and actually potentially an AS degree then in Internet Authoring from MSJC. And we'll talk about tutoring here in just a little bit too. So the textbook, if you need to have, or if you buy the electronic version of the textbook, then you should be able to get access to it through the Canvas course. So if you click on the modules link there on the global menu in Canvas, the very top module in the modules grouping is the Cengage textbook. And you just click on the link there that is the CSIS CSIS 115A Web Dev 1 textbook. That takes you into the Cengage provided module. Once you're in there, you'll need to click. If you look at the graphic on the right there, you'll see that there's a blue book icon in the toolbar that comes up on the right-hand side of your screen in the Cengage module. You just click there, and then that gives you access to the textbook. So the syllabus has the course description, the objectives, the learning outcomes, and my instructor information. Primarily what you want there is my email address. Also, the textbook information is covered there. Class schedule, which is the due dates, the review assignment due dates, the quiz due dates, and then the final exam, which is by the last day of this class. And then also my regular effective contact policy, which basically says that I'll respond to any contact that you make with me within 48 hours. And usually it's much sooner than that. I'm generally sitting in front of a computer. And even in the evenings, I have my phone by me, so I can usually get a response back to you pretty quickly. So I highly encourage you, any issues that you run into with regards to this class, that you make contact with me, either by email, by Canvas messaging, or through the help discussion forum. But just remember that email is the one that I'm going to have the quickest access to. No plagiarism, cheating, or stealing. And then the disability statement that's in the syllabus at the bottom there has a link to the accommodation service center that MSJC provides. And there really isn't any accommodations usually that we have to deal with in this class because the quizzes have unlimited amount of time. Now, for the first week of class, you want to be sure that you've subscribed to that help discussion forum, because again, you're going to get extra credit points if you help other students out in this class before I do. And then the next thing will be to complete the prep unit. So in the prep unit, you'll find the instructions for how you download and unzip the data files. So the Cengage, the publisher of the textbook, provides you with some pre-built files and some images and whatnot that you're going to use both during the tutorials as well as the review assignments. So you need to get those downloaded, unzipped, and then there's also instructions in the prep unit for how you're going to get access to a source code editor, which we refer to as an integrated development environment, an IDE. Generally, it's going to be Visual Studio, unless you have a preference for some other IDE. So if you've already been using, say, Dreamweaver, for instance, then you can continue to use that. So we have instructions for how you can use Dreamweaver as well within the instructions. So you have to get the data files downloaded to your computer, unzipped. Then once you determine what IDE you're going to use, you'll open that folder that contains the data files as a website. And then once you have those files within your source code editor, then you can begin modifying, editing the files as necessary for completion of the tutorials and the review assignments. And then also you'll need to publish the results of your review assignments up to the student web server so that I'll be able to score them. And you'll have to set up then publishing within your IDE as well. And we do have instructions there for Visual Studio and Dreamweaver. If you're using some other program and you're working on a Mac, for instance, there's some instructions for how to use FileZilla to upload the files to the student web server. And then again, following through here on the first week class, what you're going to be doing. So once you've got the data files unzipped, you've opened them in your IDE and set up your publishing, then you're going to be able to publish that default HTML file up to the student web server. You'll then open up that default file in your web browser to make sure that it's working correctly. And once you've determined that works correctly, then you go ahead and you copy that URL that's in your web browser, the one that's allowing you to view your file on the student web server. You copy that URL and then you submit that using the submit an assignment link, which is in the on the home page. I've got a link there for you, submit an assignment link, and click on that. Whatever review assignment it is, prep unit, review assignment 1, etc., you'll click on that appropriate link, and that's where you'll post the URL, paste the URL into the editor, and then submit it. And so again, if you run into any problems in this class, post your problem to the help discussion forum if it's related to the content and completing the assignments and the tutorials and whatnot. If you want to report some errors or have some sort of a personal information that you need to convey to me, you can go ahead and send me an email or message me in the Canvas system. And so that's it for now. Happy coding, everyone.